Hi, I'm Matt from Reed's Custom Food Plots. We're back today at our demonstration property where we're doing a lot of development work to try and give you guys a picture of what it looks like as food plots are in various stages of development. But more importantly, we want to talk about budgeting and how do we maximize the money that you're going to spend to develop your property for deer hunting and wildlife improvement. If you look over my shoulder, you'll be able to see some of the winter rye that we actually have killed off earlier this spring. That was the existing food plot. And then last fall we came in and we created a new area here. We put this little pond in and then we split this new area into halves so that we can have a clover area and then a rotatable crop on the other side. This was an out-of-pocket expense that did not involve, for example, cutting or the sale of timber. So an area like this, you might have somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 to create this from scratch. Overall now at this area, you're probably a half to 3/4 of an acre with a little water source and a pond. It's aesthetically pleasing. We'll get the rest of this planted up and then we'll have a great spot to hunt for a long time to come. On the larger end of the spectrum, what we have here is what we would call a destination, more of a management style food plot. Just north of 2 acres, this was created from scratch. This was all standing timber behind me when we got started. We were able to go ahead and harvest that timber, and because we're in an area of Wisconsin that had at the time a pretty strong wood market, we were able to take that timber, sell it, and then use those funds to go ahead and create this food plot. So on a food plot like this, we have about $4,500 worth of investment, most of which was offset by the sale of the timber that was here. That's not always the case, but again, in a situation like this, we were able to use that resource, turn it into a really nice huntable area. Will pay long-term dividends, not only for your hunting, but for the value of your land overall. So one of the considerations you're going to want to think about as you're evaluating your own budget for your own food plots is the condition of your soil. Generally speaking, if you've got relatively clean soil, much like we have here, it's going to be less expensive than if your soil was very rocky or very wet or something along those lines. The other piece to consider is the volume of stumpage that you have left after something is cut. An area like this, while it was hardwoods previous to us clearing this, generally not too bad as far as stumps are concerned. On the flip side of that, if you're going into say a red pine clear cut area, you're going to have a large volume of stumps, a little more difficult to get out. It's going to take a little bit more time. In an area like this, we're clearing about 9 or 10 food plots for this customer. I'm standing in an area that's going to be ultimately about a half an acre food plot. Here you can see we've got a pretty sizable oak stump. This is a really freshly cut area. This was actually cut about a week ago. Stumps are going to come out a little bit more difficult, going to be a little more time involved. Well, if you look, you can see in here where the processor came through, cut through this area, left some pretty sizable ruts. There's some grass in this area that's kind of a telltale sign that this area might be a little bit wetter. The one thing this area has going for it, there are no rocks, so we don't have to worry about pulling out sizable rocks and moving those types of things around. That just adds additional cost. So we certainly have seen these types of projects many, many times. We'll be glad to sit down with you, work out a budget, and help you pick those sites that are going to work best within your budget so that you can get the food plot you're looking for many years to come.